What is up, everybody? So today I'm going to make a couple videos about the Atlanta child murders case. Now, about a year or so ago, a year and a half ago, I believe, they did some new DNA testing in the case, but there hasn't been a lot of information, almost no information has come out since they've done that DNA testing. And now the families of the victims are demanding that the DNA testing be released in this case. This is from 11alive.com and is linked in the description below. The headline states, the families of victims demand DNA testing be released in the Atlanta child murders case. The families of at least 4 victims in the Atlanta child murders gathered to call for the release of all DNA testing related to the case. The group said it's been 1 year since they've received any updates from the city after it said it was going to retest DNA evidence. The story continues, I've waited for somebody to come and tell me that they found the killer of Curtis, but no one ever come. That is from Catherine Leach. She is the mother of 13-year-old Curtis Walker. The pain is still there. I still hurt because I don't have no justice. Facts from the case and who is responsible for the deaths of over 24 children are still widely debated after 40 years. There are still people out there that do not believe Wayne Williams is guilty. Of course, there are a bunch of people that do, but some of the parents don't necessarily believe that Wayne Williams was the killer. One man, Wayne Williams, has been named the man behind the murders, but his guilt is still debated. Williams was only convicted of killing 2 adult men, and he was convicted and sentenced to life in prison in 1982, but he has always maintained his innocence. He's currently housed at Telfair State Prison. In 2019, Atlanta Mayor announced they would re-examine the murders. She even revealed the investigation team would expand the possible timeline from 1970 to 1985 to consider any additional children or other victims that were possibly overlooked. Then last year, she announced investigators were headed to Utah to provide a lab with DNA evidence from the murders. Earlier this year, 11 Alive reported that Williams has a new attorney who said Williams and the families of the kids killed have already waited too long to hear what came from that evidence. We have absolutely no evidence as to what has been uncovered, what came from those DNA samples. We have no answers. I asked the city, Atlanta Police, and the district attorney's office about the samples, and they told me so far no official report is available. The cases are still wildly debated and who is responsible. Investigators have long suspected Wayne Williams. They said they didn't charge him in the children's deaths to avoid putting those victims' family through a trial. Now, I'm not saying Wayne Williams isn't guilty, but I do not like that excuse. I fully believe, maybe I'm wrong, I understand the thought process of not wanting to put the families through that, but I fully believe that the families would have wanted justice. They would have wanted, absolutely no doubt, that the right person was sitting in jail for the murders of their children. They would have sat through a trial, absolutely, to know that the right person was convicted of these crimes. It would have been a terrible, horrible experience, absolutely. But they would have been willing to do it, I believe, in order to make sure the right person sat in prison. If that's Wayne Williams, that's Wayne Williams. If it's somebody else, that person should be sitting in prison. So they didn't want to put the families through a trial, but families that spoke with 11 Alive said that they don't believe Wayne Williams is responsible. We've been pushed around for people to just use us to keep making anything up, just to humiliate the families. I think Wayne Williams is an innocent man, and I always said free Wayne Williams. This is from the cousin of 9-year-old Anthony Carter, the 11th child to be murdered during the killing spree. The Atlanta child murders are considered a black eye to the city's storied history. Many critics look at the past and insist that elements of the crime spree were never solved. 11 Alive reached out to the Atlanta Police Department and the forensic company conducting the DNA testing, but both said no report or updates were available at this time. It's been debated for over 40 years who committed this crime. There are some people out there that think Wayne Williams is guilty 100%, but then you have some of the victims' families who do not believe that Wayne Williams is the person that committed these crimes. They absolutely need to release this DNA and let the families know what came from this DNA testing that was done a year ago, over a year ago. It's just crazy. The Atlanta mayor has not said anything since she had this press conference a year and a half ago, whatever it was, has not given any information to the families. That leads you to think, what came out of these reports? Is Wayne Williams, if it came back, you would think that Wayne Williams was the man. He is guilty. That they'd be like, yeah, we got the right guy. But maybe it didn't. I don't know. I'm not saying he's innocent. I mean, there's a lot of things that point to Wayne Williams' guilt. But if the families don't believe he did it, I mean, you gotta check. You gotta be sure, right? That article is linked in the description below. Go check it out. 11alive.com. Let me know what you think. Leave some comments below. I hope you're having a good day, and I'll see you again soon.